Welcome to the Downers Grove Township meeting of the Board of Trustees. This is a public hearing for budget appropriations ordinances, and this particular public hearing is for the Township Highway Department. The process of the meeting is, I'm calling this meeting to order. I'll ask for a roll call to establish a quorum. I'm going to ask for a motion to, I can make motions at the township level to hold the meeting electronically, and then a motion to waive the clerk reading of the public notice. Then Andy will get on and talk a little bit about his budget. Public, I'll just go through the public, anybody that wants to make a comment, and then we'll start a trustee discussion. And at that time in the meeting, we'll also make a motion to adopt the budget and appropriation ordinance, and then I'll close the hearing. So at this point, I'll call the meeting to order, and I'll ask for a roll call to establish the quorum.
Okay. Trustee Donner.
Here.
Trustee Kelly.
Here.
Trustee Vanderlaan.
Here.
Trustee Ferguson.
Present.
And Supervisor Tolman.
Here. We do have a quorum. I will make a motion to conduct the Township Highway Budget Appropriation Ordinance public hearing electronically. Clerk Grimsby, can I have a roll call? Or can I have a second? Second.
Okay. Trustee Donner.
Aye.
Trustee Ferguson. Trustee Kelly.
Aye.
Trustee Vanderlaan.
Aye.
Supervisor Tolman.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. If Abby gets online, we'll make a note of it when she joins, when and if she joins the meeting. That moves us to, I'll make a motion to waive the clerk reading of the public notice which appeared in the newspaper, on our website, and in our hallway. Can I get a second, please? Second. Is there any discussion? I don't think is there any discussion from the trustees? Nobody's jumping in. Clerk Grimsby, can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Kelly.
I'm sorry.
Trustee Kelly.
Sorry. Aye.
Trustee Donner.
Aye.
Aye.
Trustee Vanderlaan.
Aye.
Trustee Ferguson. Supervisor Tolman.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. See, we have someone new down here in the corner. Welcome, Mary Lemansky. Okay, at this point, I'm going to ask Andy if he has any comments or presentation notes he would like to make about the highway budget at this time.
I think we've got a good budget, Mark. I'd like to remind all the trustees, as always, that 60% of my budget, 46% of what I levy for, goes back to the 9 villages, towns, and cities in our township.
Okay. Let me swap mics with you. Get the bottom on that. Try that again.
I just wanted to say, I think we got a good budget, Mark. I just wanted to remind the trustees that 46% of what I levy for, 46% of my budget goes back to the villages, towns, and cities in our town.
Okay. Oops, where am I? All right, at this time, do you have any other further comments, Andy?
I don't believe so.
Okay. At this time, we will take public testimony. Carol Jean, do you have any comments or any public testimony? No response? Okay. Dave Riccardotti, do you? Oh. Okay, thank you. As I call your name, if you can just unmic, and if you have something to say, you can go ahead and say it. If you don't, you can just say, I don't have any comment. Next is Dave Riccardotti. Dave, no comment? Okay. Marianne Vasquez, do you have any public comment on the? No, okay. Tom Chlistek, am I pronouncing? Clistek, okay.
Two questions here for you. I've been on York City Council for over 5 years. We have a very thorough budget review. One of the things same setting, the public will notice is there's no showing why you need the money. So for example, on the city of Darien, we always show the bids that add up to the budget that's allocated. Over here, we only have 2 sheets showing the budget. We have no information showing what was spent previously. We have no information on what will be spent. The board is voting based on what they think they need, but there's no data to back it up. As an engineer, my boss would walk me out the door if I didn't have data to back up the money I need for taxpayers. So that's the first thing I'd like to see shown is why, or where is that money going? So for example, you have maintenance, is that going towards asphalt, is that going towards base control, So we need to see those quotes up front. Unless you have that, you don't know really what you're really going towards the money. And secondly, another thing we have for the city of Darien is long-range planning. So we actually have 3, 4, and 5-year budget outlay. So we know what to expect, what are big projects that we're going to do. And this is something I like to see the township do, so you're not coming back here with a surprise, hey, we invested a bunch of money for something here where we didn't plan for or we didn't anticipate. So serving on a budget committee for many, many years, those are 2 things that are very critical for the transparency of people paying taxes into the system, making sure they know where money's going to, versus just saying, I need money. So I think that's important to have. One way you could do that is show what you spent the previous year too. I did not see that in the documentation. Our budget for the city, about 450 pages. This is only 2 pages, so it seems a little short on information. So in the future, we'd like to see more data there for others who like to do.
Last year's budget's online, so you can get that online. It's on our website.
Yeah, on our transparency page, we keep all of our previous budgets listed by year. And the audits, which are also on the transparency page, refer back to, I think there's 2 or 3 years of history on the audits, depending on who the auditor is.
So is there a summary of how much each one went up? Usually, like for our city administrator, Brian Vanna, will have him give us what each Excel sheet there, which amount went up, which amount went down, and what percentage.
In the audit, yeah, in the audits themselves
Got it? Okay.
that give a multi-year report, historic history, they'll show you, like I said, a 2 or 3 year trend. Townships themselves, the budgets are not anywhere near as complex or as detailed as a municipal budget. There's no argument about that.
I agree. It's still taxpayer dollars though, so that's all I have.
Okay. Next is Paul Coltrap. Paul, do you have any public testimony to give? Any public comment?
No, I do not.
Mary Stoll. Oh, you snuck in here. Good evening, Mary. Do you have any public testimony or comment on what you've heard? Click on your microphone and unmute. Mary Stoll?
Hi, I'm here. No, not at this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Janet, is it Janet Winning? Winningham? Oh, okay. It didn't all fit on here. I'm sorry. Do you have any public comment or testimony?
No, thanks.
Michael Okram. Good evening.
No, hi, how are you? No public comment, thank you.
Am I pronouncing your last name correctly?
You did perfectly, and I appreciate it.
Okay. Bonnie, I don't have a full last name. Bonnie Wayman. Do you have any public testimony or comment?
My only comment, and maybe I missed something, when Tom was speaking, when he was talking about last year's budget in comparison to this year's one, could you just give me a quick rundown of how much of an increase or decrease and why? Just a minor question.
For the total,
Yeah, for the highway budget there, maybe, or, yes, for the
well,
budget.
we levied for a 4.9, we levied for a 4.9 increase. Historically, you don't get that, you usually get about 1 point.
Okay. And that was for,
That was the overall budget.
no, I mean, could you give me just a little bit of quick reasoning why?
Well, because everything goes up in prices, our paving
Okay, so it's just the cost of living kinds of cost or cost of change? Okay, nothing extra or
No.
decreased? Okay, thank you, that's what I wanted.
The only thing we have, that we are doing this year that we haven't done in the past is we got a federal grant to pay part of Clarendon Hills Road. And, we're gonna have actually 2 paving programs this year instead of one.
Okay.
That's the only difference.
All right, thank you for that.
And our overall budgets are limited by PTEL, Property Tax Extension Limitation Law. So it's, the last several years, it's usually worked out to be the cost of living, which has been an increase, which has been very low. I think this year it's gonna be 1.3, 1.4%. Hasn't been dialed in exactly. Okay, so we're down to Jerry. Jerry, do you have any public testimony, comments?
No, thank you.
Okay. Steve, do you have any public testimony or comments?
No, thank you.
Mary, do you have any public testimony or comments?
No comment.
Abby, welcome.
Thank you. I apologize for the tardiness. Just for everyone who's at the meeting, I have a 3-day-old baby.
Congratulations.
I apologize for that.
Congratulations. I didn't see when you came on, but I'll note that the time is 7:16 p.m.
7:12.
7:12,
It
I'm
was
sorry.
about 7:06. It was
7:06? Make a note that it was 7:06. I think that's it. Is there anybody else? I think that's everybody.
Yes.
What?
you missed Carol.
Oh, did I miss Carol Saul? Uh-oh. That's a problem. Carol, do you have any public testimony or comments?
I just had a question on one item. One of the biggest changes in this budget is last year there was a $400,000 capital outlay budget for equipment, and this year it's only $100,000. I was wondering if the $400,000 was actually spent in this past year, or if it is just a difference in the anticipated equipment to be spent, for it to be spent on.
It's halfway spent. We purchased 2 trucks. We have the cab and chassis for those, but they have not been completely built. They're at Monroe right now being built. Half of them have been, the truck prices, the cab and chassis were paid for, but putting the truck together still has to be done.
Okay, and then I just wanted to say, Abby, hey, congratulations, boy or girl?
Thank you. It's a boy. His name is William.
That's wonderful. And you have one other, don't you?
Yes, he's about 3, so there's a lot going on around here.
Yes, I'm sure there is. So congratulations.
Okay, now at this, Greg, you're not, do you have any public testimony or comment?
I'd like to say, Trustee Ferguson, congratulations and thank you for your commitment to 3 days after having a baby being on the line to serving the public. That's commendable.
Thank you all.
Sure.
I appreciate it.
It's very impressive.
All right, at this time I'll open it up for trustee discussion. If the trustees want to unmic, if you want, I can ask you individually, or if you have a comment, you can just have at it. I'll start with, first row is Karen on the right-hand side.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Dave Vanderlaan? Any comments, any discussion?
I'll just add my congratulations. I'll add my congratulations to Abby as well. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Let's see. And then Abby, do you have any questions or comments?
No, my questions have been addressed. Thank you.
Art, do you have any questions or comments?
No questions or comments.
And I will join in everybody else saying congratulations, Abby. The road budget is can vary wildly from year to year depending on what kind of projects Andy has slotted. Like he said, this year, hopefully the Clarendon Hills Road project will come to fruition. And I will note on the trucks, often he will buy the 2/3 of the truck basically and have the balance of it done in the following fiscal year. So having $400,000 last year and $100,000 this year on 2 trucks. We've seen that before. That's actually more common than you'd think.
We actually save $1,400 on each cab and chassis by paying them off when they get them, instead of just leaving them on their lot until the truck's built. So that saves a little money there too.
Good deal.
Is it environmentally friendly using natural gas or any alternative fuel, or is it just normal diesel, I assume?
They're diesel.
Okay. Seeing no further discussion, I will make a motion to adopt the Township Road District Budget and Appropriation Ordinance number 2021 for fiscal year March 1, 2021 to February 28, 2022.
Second.
Art has seconded it, and Lorraine, can I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Donner?
Aye.
Trustee Ferguson?
Aye.
Trustee Kelly?
Aye.
Trustee Vanderline?
Aye.
Trustee Vanderline?
Aye.
Supervisor Tolman?
Aye. The motion to adopt carries 5-0. So at this time, I will close this hearing.
One thing, the trustees need to sign this.
Okay.
So I will have to contact them to get signatures.
We'll need to file this within 30 days with the county, so we'll be asking you to come by and sign it.
Or I could meet them.
Or Lorraine can come out and meet you. Do the trustees all understand that?
Yes.
All right.
Person inside. Person inside.
Okay.
Yes, I understand.
Okay, at this time, I'll close the hearing. My Lysol judge. And we're at 7:21, so I want to go directly into the next public hearing. I want to call this meeting to order. Public hearing for the General Fund, IMRF, and General Assistance Fund. So I've called this meeting to order. We need a roll call to establish the quorum. Clerk Grimsby, can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Donner?
Aye.
Trustee Kelly?
Aye.
Trustee Ferguson?
Aye.
Trustee Vanderline?
Present?
Supervisor Tolman?
Aye. We do have a quorum. I'll make a motion to conduct the Township General Fund, IMRF, and General Assistance Budget Appropriation Ordinance public hearing electronically. Clerk Grimsby, can I have a roll call vote, please?
You made a motion?
Oh, can I get a second?
Second.
Sorry.
Okay. Trustee Donner?
Aye.
Trustee Kelly?
Aye.
Trustee Ferguson?
Aye.
Trustee Vanderline?
Aye.
We get a 2. We get a double from.
Trustee Vanderline?
Aye.
Supervisor Tolman?
Aye. The motion carries 5-0. Next, I will make a motion to waive the clerk reading of the public notice. Can I get a second?
Second.
Can I get a roll call vote on this, Clerk Grimsby?
Trustee Donner?
Aye.
Trustee Kelly?
Aye.
Trustee Ferguson?
Aye.
Trustee Vanderline?
Aye.
Supervisor Tolman?
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Moves on to the general fund presentation by supervisor, and I will also extend the opportunity to Assessor Bolts to make a alternate budget presentation on his items. After, you want to go first or second?
Well, I will say that there, I would like to make a point that the assessor budget that was presented in accordance with state statute was $1,246,000 and change, representing a 6.8% reduction from last year's budget. The supervisor reduced the budget another 18% without any communication or notice. I have consulted with my counsel, and they agree with the township attorney. The procedures followed by the supervisor in unilaterally reducing my budget without any public discussion and not consistent with the statutes and violates the Open Meetings Act. We will be reviewing our available options if the board deviates from the opinion of the township attorney in proceeding with this hearing. The supervisor adjusted many items with no knowledge or questions of our operations. The supervisor's adjustments would inhibit our office from doing our statutory duties. Two examples in this consideration. Statutory duties that are going to be impacted. Information technology. Our annual IT license and fee exceeded the IT line item and would result in having to possibly cancel our assessment database subscription and stop other improvements that are in progress. Cut to IT budget prevents us from maintaining our current systems. It will limit our ability to maintain property record cards and have them available to the public in accordance with Illinois State Statute 35 ILCS 200/9-20. The professional services line item, the budget, it's not even a budget because it's inconsistent with the Illinois statute, the way it was done, is a zero item according to this information that supervisor put forward, is obstructive to the office. Having the professional service budget item gave us the ability to eliminate a commercial position to save taxpayers money. We defend appeals that are based on contention of law and through the use of attorneys. Statutory duty to defend assessments at the Board of Review, eliminating professional services budget line item prevents our office from using the legal counsel to develop and defend assessments that are based on contention of law. Illinois Statute 35 ILCS 200/9-160. We are not in a position we're not aware of this budget. There was no discussion with my office. I only found out about some information that was hung inconsistent with state statute in accordance with what the attorney for the township said. We were not made aware of it. There was no discussion from the supervisor with anybody in my office. So again, we've been informed in writing from the township attorney. Our attorney has concurred that he is correct in the statement that this is not a valid hearing to discuss this because my budget was never discussed in public and therefore there is no ability to discuss it at this time. We concur with, again, my attorney concurs with the attorney for the township.
Anything else? Thank you. I'll go ahead and make a presentation on the entire budget. This budget represents wrapping up the Township Center project. There's a couple of payments still to the contractor that are due. I believe that this is a good budget for all departments. It stresses services over salaries moving forward. It restores funds to the general reserve of about 1 year of reserves. It provides for adding additional personnel for human services and senior services to take advantage of the new Township Center. It provides for additional support for nonprofits that will be serving the residents of the township. The Township Center bringing those nonprofits closer to the people who need assistance. As far as the assessor's budget goes, his actual expenses for this year, the final bottom line is $913,444.56. About $8,700 of that includes PCs for the supervisor's office that were in the IT budget. So his total expenses were about $904,744. The recommended budget for the assessor is $1,488,000. That represents a 10.6% increase over his actual expenses of this year. He has reduced his department expenses 3 years running, so the 10.6% increase is also historically in line with the assessor department for many, many years. Speaking of specifics, he had a line item for postage. There is no reason for the assessor to pay postage. That's an obligation of the supervisor's office to provide postage for the entire township. His professional services, that specifically was put in for a commercial appraiser 1099 contract with Edward, and he no longer works for the township as an independent employee. The $10,095 of actual expenses in professional services, in the assessor's notes he said he'll reduce that by $20,000. There's only $10,000 in that budget item, so it can't be reduced by $20,000. But he's asking for $36,000 38,000? One of those two, for professional services, for a line item that really is for something that no longer exists, a commercial appraiser. I think that the salaries, which totaled out at $705,723, his total personnel budget was $828,015.21. That we have increased to $918,185, which allows for overtime and salary increases. I would also like to point out that while the assessor is obligated by statute to present a budget request 60 days in advance of the end of the fiscal year, it is solely the responsibility of the Board of Trustees to see to it that we provide sufficient funds to the assessor's office to operate his department. There has been no declaration by any trustee or by myself that we will do anything other than do that. We have a legal obligation, a statutory obligation, to pay any legitimate bill on time. If he goes over the $1,488,000, we are still going to be paying his bills because we have a statutory obligation to pay those bills if they're legitimate. As far as the OMA, the alleged OMA violation, there is no part of the Open Meetings Act that compels discussion of an item. There's nothing in the Open Meetings Act that compels trustees to discuss an item. At the January meeting, I asked each trustee individually whether they had any discussion or comment on the budget. At that time, they each individually said no. So we
need that law.
there's no, what Alan is, can you speak up, Al? And can I refer you back to, there is no OMA violation because there is no requirement for discussion of any budget.
But you're wrong. In my opinion, you're wrong.
In your opinion. In my opinion, from reading the Open Meetings Act, there is nothing there that says we are obligated to discuss anything.
How did that budget change without board approval? How did it change from 1.25 million?
There's no requirement for the board to approve a change of a budget request, Al. There's no requirement.
You changed it yourself. You placed it before everybody and did not advise them that you've done that. That's the Open Meetings violation.
I gave the, no, that's not an Open Meetings Act violation. You need to go back and read.
The Board of Trustees makes this decision, not the supervisor.
It was put before.
Assesses the assessor's budget. That's what we're talking about. His budget is fair game for your appraisal, your consideration. But it should be his budget that's up for discussion, not your budget. You took your budget and put it in instead of his budget. That's the problem. That's why I'm recommending that, though you get through this hearing, that you wait 30 days, do it the right way, have the right budget posted, go to a hearing and let Mr. Bolts address his budget to you and have a fair and open discussion of how it should be voted on and vote then. There's no problem in my mind that you do it transparency. If you do it transparently, you'll be doing the citizens a favor. So everything can be out and before the public. And that's the way it's supposed to be done. That's what the Open Meetings violation is about. And that's what the Open Meetings Act is about. Transparency, public discussion. That's my opinion. I put it in writing and I'm standing by it right now.
Thank you for your opinion.
Excuse me, I have a supplemental report I'd like to make on the budget. And I would just like to state that in your presentation, now that we're in open meetings, you've made multiple false statements to this public and to the trustees in your statement tonight. And when you post the budget properly, I will be happy to address the budget that I prepared and your false statements that were made in this meeting today in an open meeting. That's the purpose of why the state statutes require discussions in open meetings, because now we'll be able to address the false statements that you've made about my budget tonight. Because the key is, you never came back and talked to anybody, Supervisor. You have no operational knowledge of my office whatsoever. You don't understand the statutes in which I have to perform in my office and the statutory duties that I have to do. So with all due respect, with no knowledge, and whether you're charging my office for expenses or not, is an accounting issue that you should talk. I'm not going to comment on that, although I am a CPA. All right. The point is, I have statutory duties. I've highlighted 2 that you've taken away my ability to do that, and we'll discuss it when the Open Meetings Act, when it's properly supported and presented to the public, so they have a chance, and the trustees have a chance to see the actual information that I presented. And I'm happy to stand by it, and if the trustees as a whole, after a public hearing, after the chance to have it discussed in a public meeting, where the facts are actually presented, I'll stand by any discussion, any question the public has, any question a trustee has. I'm happy to defend that. What I'm not going to sit here and do is have false statement made about information that a person knows nothing about, and have it sit there. But thank you for doing it in a public meeting now, because at least now it's been stated in public. Thank you, Supervisor.
You're welcome. I believe this is a good budget. I believe the assessor's budget is more than adequate for his needs. It meets the needs of his department. It provides sufficient funds for him to operate. I'll repeat that statutorily, if he goes over that additional $95,000, that additional 10.6% of his current year, that we are still going to be paying his bills. That's not an issue. The issue is that he's asking for over $313,000 more than he spent in the current year, next year, and he's saying in his notes, you said in your notes yourself, you're reducing dollar amounts, you're reducing headcount.
Mark, you're misquoting what my notes said, and again, as you consistently do, you don't present the facts. You're not going back 2 or 3 years and looking at what there was a pandemic, Mark, and I did my best to cut back and do things, and I'll be happy to address those facts in a proper public session where the facts are actually presented, not the information that you misrepresent to the public consistently on the way you present things. All right, now I'm happy to do it in accordance with the state statute, so the public gets that chance, and I believe the trustees are honorable, and whatever decision they make, but they're going to get the facts that are accurate, not the information that you put. So again, the board can do what they want. I've been advised, your attorney has advised, the township attorney has advised you, my attorney that I've spoken to has advised that it's a violation. But again, you've had multiple attorneys advise, but you're telling the attorneys are wrong about interpretation of statutes. I do not advise attorneys that I'm better than they are at interpreting the law. I understand you're telling attorneys that you are better at interpreting the law. Supervisor, that's your prerogative to be that you're better than attorneys.
All I'm doing
I'm not. I hire attorneys to understand law, and I need an attorney's budget in my professional services to be able to pay an attorney to defend statutorily appeals that are going. But you wouldn't know that because that's not what you do. But under 35 ILCS 200/9 160, that's a form of appeal that requires attorney support. Had you talked to me and not made arbitrary and capricious decisions and false representations to the board of what that line item was used for, we've been able to discuss that. But yet again, you dig your heels in. You're welcome to do that. And this board can vote in contrary to the attorney of the township's recommendation. We're only saying wait 30 days. They can do whatever they want with the budget. And if your budget stands a presentation in open light in the public so that residents can see it, not some whatever you did. I didn't even saw whatever you're referring to in these things. I didn't even see your questions. And the clerk never even saw it. She didn't even know you were swapping out budgets. Nobody knew you were swapping it out. The first I saw it was last week. You didn't tell anybody. You didn't notify anybody. The public. Again, I'm not an attorney. I'm not going to say what's like. The attorney's telling you what you've done was wrong. The attorney is telling you the law is not followed. I understand you have questions with legal experience. I don't.
We haven't opened this for trustee discussion yet. We're still doing the presentations, but I'd like to point out that on December 24th, you sent out your budget request, and it is a budget request with notes.
The attorneys told us what the statute is, Mark.
Excuse me. One of your notes was that we have reduced professional services by $20,000 as the result of significant investment made in staff training and development, which we believe has reduced the potential need of requiring outside appraisals. Edward was the outside appraisal. He was the reason for that budget to exist. There was $10,000 in that budget spent last year.
Supervisor,
You said-
stop
excuse me,
putting, no, I'm
stop.
not, no, Don, don't ask me a question. You violated the Open Meetings Act. You have not presented my budget. I will not answer any questions you have because you've not shown the numbers you're
I'm
talking to
not
the
asking
public.
you, I'm not asking you
Then
to
stop
answer a
talking to me.
question. I'm responding
No,
to your
I know, the
notes.
public hasn't seen this. You
And
like
I'm
to
not
not
gonna
show the
stop
public,
talking.
you like to not show the public information.
Comments?
Abby, I just want to reiterate, the budget is a good one. The assessor department having a 10.6% increase, and there is a statutory obligation if he goes over that amount, if he spends more than $95,000 than he did this year, we're still going to be paying his bills. So his objection that we're not getting enough money is moot, because we're required by statute to pay any legitimate bill. As far as not giving him the extra $313,000 over what he spent this year, I think that speaks for itself. We're a small unit of government. I will say he has done a good job reducing his head count, which he has given us. I assume that since we're past the 4-year appraisal where everybody gets appraised, it was a big year for the assessor department, that you can continue on that trend. You've added part-time employees and reduced full-time employees, so you also eliminate healthcare costs. This budget is a good one.
You have no basis for that opinion, Mark, because you have no understanding of the operation.
Hang on just a second, Abby.
Repeating ourselves.
I think at this point we might be, but I disagree with the township attorney. There is no obligation under the Open Meetings Act to discuss anything at any meeting. You're gonna have to Al,
That's not my point.
that was exactly your point in your memo.
My words, I've given my opinion in writing and I repeated it here.
I don't think this needs to be continued to be argued about. I think we should move on to trustee comments and people that.
I agree, and I'll leave it as, I think $95,000 more instead of $313,000 more is more than enough, and that we will pay bills that are legitimate when they are submitted promptly. At this point, I will first ask for public testimony. That is next, and I'll start in the same order with Carol Jean in the top row. Do you have any public testimony or comment?
No, I do not.
Okay. Dave Riccodotti, do you have any public testimony or comment?
I don't think I have enough information to make an intelligent public testimony. It's unfortunate that it's gotten to this state that we can't work these kind of things out at this stage, but it's more, I'm disappointed in the actions of everybody than I am in the final result. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Mary Ann Vasquez, do you have any public testimony or comments? Your microphone is muted.
On the general budget or the assessor's office?
Anything.
All this, I've lost track.
You can comment on either or both.
Okay, and it's more of a curiosity. I noticed the general assistance went down about 8,000. Just why was that choice made? I know that there's a lot going on with pantry, but I need to.
The general assistance went down for a couple of reasons. We asked for less property tax for there because we're trying to bring down the reserves in the general assistance fund. We want to keep the reserves no higher than 2.5 times our annual expenses. We have dried up to, basically right now, we have one general assistance client and a ton of light heats, which is lighting and heating assistance that we process for the county, but we currently only have one client that is on general assistance. We have provided last year additional funds for meal services and vouchers for those in need. And we have done that out of the general assistance fund. But we still have a healthy reserve in there, and we're still trying to trim that down more.
Okay, thank you.
Tom Klistik.
Sure, I always have questions. Just for my understanding, and probably all the viewers as well, the concern is that there's a $300,000 request from the assessor's office from the last minute with no data or information to justify that. Is that ultimately what we're discussing?
No, he submitted a budget proposal on December 24th, a budget request on December 24th. On January 14th, I took his information under consideration and rolled that into a general fund budget, which I sent to the trustees to be discussed at if needed, at the January meeting. That was posted 30 days in advance of this meeting. It's been public record for 30 days before this meeting. And the trustees individually declined to discuss it at the January meeting.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to butt in and say that's not really an entirely accurate statement.
We can discuss that in the trustee discussion.
Okay.
Hold that thought.
So Mark, what part does discussion have to have? So for example, there are things on city budget that we'll approve, on a consent agenda, normal formalities. So is there a requirement that it has to be discussed, or that it just has to be posted 30 days on the agenda and move forward? So what is the discussion, I guess, have to deal with? Because usually on council, a lot of things don't get discussed. No one has a question to move forward. So as you were saying, yeah, if it's posted there. Does it require someone to discuss it? I don't believe that's
It does not.
the case. Okay.
Every budget has to be discussed, that's the assessor's budget has to be discussed.
There's no requirement that the budget request be discussed.
The requirement that the assessor present a budget.
There's a requirement that the assessor present a budget 60 days in advance. The statutory requirement is that the Board of Trustees provide sufficient funds. You know that, Al.
I know exactly what I'm talking about.
Tom,
Thank you.
Tom, the statute says that the public has to see.
We're in public discussion.
The public has, I'm part of the public, I'm part of the public.
No, you're.
Yes, I am. Tom, the public has to see the information provided by a separate branch of government. I am a separate elected official. I present the budget, and then it's supposed to be viewed by the public, and the public gets to see it. Supervisor Tolman unilaterally and capriciously lowered it without any conversation with anybody else. He's trying to override the attorney because his legal opinion, it's been already advised by the Township Association, the attorneys advised him. He has an opinion. I'm not an attorney. The attorney's telling him he's wrong. I've consulted with an outside attorney. It's simply a matter of we're just saying, hey, bring it to the public, show them the numbers, ask me any question you want, I have no problem. He's made all these recommendations and these cuts without any conversation operationally. Like for instance, I can't defend a form of appeal because of these cuts he's made. I'm happy to discuss it in the light of day as opposed to in the darkness that Supervisor Tolman does. That's what it is, Tom. I know, you know me, we've talked before. It's all about doing it in the public like you do at the village in Darien. He does it behind the scenes, coming up with some rule that he interprets. I'm not an attorney, I go by what the attorney says. I've consulted too. So again, it's the speaker salesman versus two attorneys.
The false information that he just said was that if he's doing appraisals, we won't pay the bills for the legal representation for the appraisals. Again.
That's not correct.
That's not correct. Just said that. It's on video. I'm not going to.
No, Mark. It is according to Illinois statute 35 LLCS 200/9 I-160. When somebody does an appeal based on, I got my glasses. It's based on contention of law. It has nothing to do with an appraisal. There are appraisals additionally, and it was not performing an appraisal function.
You're talking tangentially.
No.
If there's a bill involved in that, it will be paid.
Mark, you're not even going to be here. So don't tell us what you're going to do. You're gone May 15th.
I've got a point of order here, Greg. You are out of control here.
No.
You need to be
No.
quiet.
He
And
broke-
let him run the meeting.
No,
I'm
no.
serious.
I don't care
You
what
are
you're serious
yelling.
about, Art.
You are.
He's
disrupting-
falsely making statements,
You are
Art.
being redundant. We have
So is
heard
he.
your argument.
I don't care.
Let's let him move the meeting forward, okay?
It's called-
I
This is
am,
government.
I am gonna move the meeting forward with public comments. Tom, do you have any other further public comments?
No, I do not, thank you.
Thank you. Carol Soul, do you have any public testimony or comments you'd like to make at this time?
I would like to make a couple of comments.
Okay.
As you probably know that, over the last, I don't know how many years, I'm the person who has brought to your attention any number of Open Meeting Act violations. I see absolutely no Open Meeting Act violation for what you've done here. You properly posted the budget. I understand that, one of your department heads and a separate elected official is not happy with that budget. But this budget still has to come before a vote of this body. It's not like it's final yet. There's still action, there's still opportunity to discuss it among the group. Your comment that this budget reflects what, the assessor's office has spent this year makes perfect sense to me. I'm not there, but, that makes perfect sense. Why would you fund it at that level when they haven't spent that this year? This ties back to why I asked about the equipment for the highway department. Did they not spend that money, or do they just not need it for the next year? They have spent that money, but they don't need that much for the next year. The budget was adjusted. So, it troubles me that, the public comment has been chewed up by, elected officials. And I hope to see this discussion, go on. I did have one question on the budget itself, something that interests me. I see that the CERT program has been dropped to 0, and I would, like to understand that better.
Okay, the CERT program, we weren't charged for this year because nothing happened for it. When we took a look at what the supervisor's office was doing in a participatory role with the CERT program, we never had done anything with it. The highway department had joined with other highway departments in a biannual search for homeless people in the wintertime. And they also have the option to continue their CERT membership. So we decided that this year we would take a pass on it because we just haven't seen any benefit or activity for us from the general fund.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Next is Paul Coltrap. Paul, do you have any public testimony, comments, questions?
Yeah, just, really quick. I would like to see that this be put off for 30 days and relook at when both budgets can be looked at. The unfortunate thing is when Mr. Bolts was originally talking, there was so much feedback, it was really hard to hear, what all he was saying. But I think with the amount of, input from Attorney Lange, and, I would just like to see this, taken care of at next month's meeting. Give it 30 days, take a look at both budgets, and have the, trustees take a look at it at that point. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Mary Stoll, do you have any public testimony, comments, or questions?
Just one comment. I think what Paul just voiced sounded very reasonable. I wish I could have been made that comment a little earlier. Thank you.
Thank you. Janet Winningham, do you have any public testimony, public comments, or questions?
No, I don't, thank you.
Michael Okram, do you have any public testimony, comments, or questions?
Thank you, Supervisor Tillman. I do have a question. I'm not trying to exacerbate an already contentious situation. I'm just curious. I've served on the Darien School Board now for 8 years. And in general, the process has been with our budgets that there's a finance committee that meets with business managers. They put together the budget. The budget is then posted and shared with the public. It's presented both internally to the board, school board, and then presented to the public and discussed at a meeting. At which point it is then mulled over and then acted on it the next meeting. So I'm just trying to figure out, is this how budgets are typically presented in the township? Is this normal process, or is something changed? And if so, why is it being presented or pushed for approval in a different way now than it's been done in the past?
Okay, it's being done as it has been done in the past, and it syncs with what you're saying. The budget was given to the trustees. It was given to them for internal digesting. It was posted for 30 days. At the January meeting, it was offered for discussion and declined by all the trustees. That's on the video record and also in the minutes. And then the public hearing today after the budget being hung for 30 days. So we have followed the process you're asking about.
I disagree with you. I've already voiced.
Thank you, Al. Does that answer your question, Michael?
It does, I guess I'm just not clear. It seems to me it's black or white, it is or isn't, and I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm gonna wait to hear the trustees' comment, but it would seem to me that either, yes, that was the process that was followed, and I'm not sure what the contention is, or no, that process wasn't followed. But I guess we need to hear what the trustees have to say about it, because they're the ones who were presented with it.
Thank you. Bonnie Wayman, is it Bonnie Wayman? Do you have any?
Bonnie Wayman Dodd, it's hyphenated.
I'm sorry, I only get the Wayma.
No problem.
Do you have any public testimony, public comments, or questions?
Thank you, Mark. I do have a few. They're all different. One, I'd like to second or third or fourth, whatever Paul had said, about giving it some time there's a lot to digest there. My next comment was, do you know how many people are using the dial-a-ride program roughly? And you were talking about the lighting and heating, but I didn't hear anything about the dial-a-ride program.
Yeah, the dial-a-ride program took a real hit this year because we could only give one person a ride at a time. And for about a 4-month period, I mean, when we were locked down from March through most of the summer, we hardly had any rides at all. We kept the service going. We dropped the additional holiday hours that we had added previously because we didn't have anybody use them at all the last 2 years. And we're hoping that things will return to normal and we'll see our ridership go back up. Typically, we do several hundred rides each quarter. Mostly for medical appointments, so it was a double-edged sword and of concern to us that nobody was using the system, everybody was staying at home. To us, it meant that nobody was going to doctor appointments. I don't know what to make of that, but yeah, we had a huge drop in ridership and dial-a-ride. We are going to continue with dial-a-ride in this budget. I would urge whoever follows as the Board of Trustees and the Supervisor to continue with that program. We are allowed to continue with it under a grandfathering situation instead of being forced to convert the ride to Page, which has a wider ridership area. We only serve our township and then a couple hospitals that are just on the other side of the borders. But the Ride DuPage is a significantly more expensive ride service. We charge $3 each way. Ride DuPage has a drop fee and then $1 a mile each way. So it can add up. And they've had their problems with ridership drop also. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that is helpful. And my other question is, in this budget, is there any consideration that general assistance may need to go up based on the current economy pandemic situation?
Possible. If you look, though, we have significant reserves that we're trying to reduce in that budget. We started with a balance of almost $118,000, and we've been very aggressive in a reduced property tax assessment to hopefully reduce that down to about $17,000 as a reserve. We can make emergency moves if we need to. But I think with the categories that we have, like shelter at $15,000, and then we have, we're required to fund physician services, pharmaceutical services, other medical services, meal assistance programs that we typically, at the end of the year, we're not spending much money on, but we have to put money into the budget on those line items. So I think we're in good shape with that as far as the contractual services at $27,000. We've been fortunate in that when I started as supervisor, we had 17 or 18 people on general assistance. We were either able to move them to public aid at the county level, welfare, or our general assistance person basically gave them phone numbers to go call and see if they could get a job, and most of them did. They got a job. He just, he went up and down Ogden Avenue and saw the help wanted signs and wrote down the phone numbers and gave them to people, and they went and got jobs. So good for them. Our general assistance is designed as temporary assistance to help people who have stumbled and fallen get back up on their feet and get on with their lives. If they can't do that, if they qualify for Social Security disability insurance, we get them into that program as quickly as we can. And we get reimbursed by the federal government for any expenses that we incur while they process the paperwork and get them moved over. The county, if they're a public aid case, we get them over to county as quickly as we can so we can get them set up, because our assistance is limited and it is designed to be temporary. Does that answer your question?
There was a lot there. I guess I'm not entirely certain if the actual thought of that the need may go up. Are you saying that the need may go up, but you may be able to get them on public aid, so it wouldn't really go up?
I'd like to say possibly. And there's also been an increase in payments in unemployment insurance that has prevented people from coming in. They don't get into the situation where they're short on their rent and they need some additional assistance because they're already getting additional assistance from the federal government. So on the flip side of that, our nonprofit Fish Food and Clothing Pantry, their business on Monday this week, they served 83 families, which was a record. Typically for years, the fish pantry would deal with 20 to 25 families a week. And they're up consistently in the high 70s and 80s. And to be grimly blunt about it, I don't really see that number going down. I think we need to reach out and find more people that need food assistance and get them into the food pantry.
I appreciate that, and I don't want to take up too much time here. Has there been any discussion with utilizing the PRC to help with that, the People's Resource Center?
The PRC over in Westmont and Wheaton is also a very high volume food pantry. They also do classroom training that we don't, and they receive grants at a much higher level than Fish, that mainly gets their funds on fundraising. So they're a bigger operation.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Bonnie?
I'm good at this moment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Jerry, do you have any public discussion, testimony, questions, comments?
Yeah, I do. I have a comment, question. Talking about general administration, general assistance administration budget. Help me out here. I'm looking at the budget, page 5, and it shows contractual services of $27,200. And it gives a total general assistance administration budget of $152,000. So, what you've essentially got is $27,000 in services and $125,000 to administer those services. That doesn't sound right to me.
A lot of townships are upside down on that when they get to a point where they've reduced their client count, which we have done. Again, this is gonna be after I'm gone. Part of what's incorporated into the budget is for the existing general assistance person to train up 2 part-timers to take his place. So that'll reduce the personnel costs and essentially give us 6 work days each week out of 2 part-timers instead of a 5-day work week out of 1 without any health insurance or IMRF implications. So that's also included in the budget in terms of salaries. And that's something that will happen after I'm gone. Hopefully whoever assumes the role of supervisor will understand the need that there are some personnel that are aging out, and the original plan was to replace them with multiple part-timers. And by doing that, we save on salaries, we save on health insurance, and we give good jobs to people. Our part-time employees like working here.
Well, that would help.
Any other questions, comments?
No.
Okay, Steve, do you have any public testimony, public comments, public questions?
I guess just one. Is there any statutory requirement that the budget before us be approved by today or anything like that?
The budget has to be approved in the first quarter of the budget year.
Okay, thank you.
Mary Lemansky, do you have any public testimony, any public comments or questions?
I just wanted to say that I agree with Carol Soul. The budget has been presented and it's been presented for 30 days and it's there, so why not vote on it? If you don't like it, then don't vote for it, and then vote for a new budget next month. That's just my comment.
Thank you. Elaine Johnson, welcome to the meeting. I didn't see you come in. Do you have any, I don't know when you came in, but do you have any public testimony, comments, or questions? Can you unmute your mic? Elaine Johnson, are you there? Okay, I'm going to assume that if you're listening, Elaine, on the bottom left hand where my cursor mouse is, you'll see a little microphone icon. If you click on it, it'll unmute you and you can make a comment if you wish. Okay, I'll assume that that's a no. At this point, we'll move to trustee discussion. Trustees, if you can unmute your microphones, please be courteous if someone else is speaking. And I'm going to start with just a round table, asking each trustee if they have any comments to make. And I'm going to start with Karen Kelly. Lucky you, first row.
You know what, can you start with someone else? I'm still rolling through all these discussions, would you like?
Okay. Next is Dave Vanderlaan. Do you have any discussion to kick off?
Thank you, Supervisor Tolman. Very briefly, I'm not going to take a position on whether or not there has been an Open Meeting Act violation. With that said, I am persuaded that the Township Attorney's recommendation is a prudent and risk-free course of action. So I am inclined to table the consideration for 30 days, after which we hold a public meeting where we consider the budget that the assessor had submitted back in December. That is my entire contribution to the discussion.
Thank you. Abby Ferguson, you're next. Do you have any trustee discussion to kick off?
Yeah, I'm actually deeply troubled by the way that this has been handled on your part, as I had mentioned, I think for many reasons, this was inappropriate and handled incorrectly, and it's very embarrassing. I'm surprised that there are people on this call that believe this is transparent. You don't send the trustees a budget and then change it unilaterally yourself, and then just let them find out essentially on their own. The clerk didn't even know about the change or post different budgets. It's just been handled in a very disturbing way, as was the discussion earlier and as have been many discussions this year. I feel like it is not appropriate to vote tonight in any way, shape, or form. I believe that we need to table this vote and discuss it at the next meeting as advised by the attorney.
Thanks, Abby. Art, do you have any trustee?
I do. A lot to say here. Al, I've been involved in a lot of opinions of attorneys that have advised me over the years for many, many years. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and going up to the largest federal courts in the country, where I have two attorneys that are both telling me that they're right, and the other one on the other side saying they're right, and we end up going to court, and the judge rules on whether one thing is right or the other. During the week, I talked to you, and I recommended that we have conflicting legal opinions here. There's also another opinion saying that this is not a violation of the act, even though your opinion, no offense, you're saying 100% that you're correct. My experience has been that even though an attorney says they're correct, sometimes, like my wife tells me, I am wrong, okay, when I think I'm right. So, with that said, I wanted to go into executive session and try and iron this thing out, and I did not hear back from you.
We could not go into executive session.
Well, that's something that I just found out now, okay? So I would have appreciated finding out whether this can be resolved in executive session, and I don't, apparently you're working for someone else than the trustees to advise us on this, because that would have diffused a lot of what's going on. And with respect to the budget, we monitor the budget monthly. We get detailed financial statements. We audit all of the numbers, okay? With respect to the assessor budget, I was aware that all along during the monthly financials that we have a significant decrease in the actual versus what is the budgeted number. It's astronomical variance coming into this. Greg and I usually meet, Greg, every year to talk about the budget, correct? This year we didn't, okay?
I offered you to meet.
Pardon me?
I offered you to meet.
When did you offer me to
In
meet?
my memo.
Well, I also said to Al for you to give me a call when we talked about it during the week. I didn't hear anything. Did you talk to Al about that?
I sent you an email and asked to meet. I've called you multiple times and don't get returned phone calls.
Greg,
Please don't send an email to somebody else. We're both professionals.
No,
I've called you many times.
Well, Greg, you lawyered up. The lawyer for the thing called me. And when I hear that someone's lawyering up, I talk through the attorney, right? Isn't that the correct procedure?
I've called you all throughout the year.
Greg, you're not answering my question.
Well, you know what? I'm an elected official just like you are. Don't speak to me like that. You've refused to return phone calls all year long, Art. We've known each other a long time, Art.
Remember one thing. I am the boss for you when it comes to
No, you're
budget.
not.
You have to ask
Go
us
ahead.
to vote.
Let's keep it civil, guys. Let's keep it civil. This is a trustee discussion.
So anyway, I know that there's a huge variance in what's actual versus budgeted. You know, I am a guardian of the public money here. I believe that the amount of that budget is astronomically too high, and I agreed with the reduced budget here. I looked at it when it came out and it was published. So therefore, if there's an error and we vote on this budget tonight, it can be corrected. I mean, the violation of the Open Meetings Act means that you have to reopen something and vote on it again. And similar to when we voted on the building that we voted on, I don't think that there's anything if we would discuss other than what I've seen monthly that's going to change my mind on your budget. So, you know, I mean, you're welcome to do that, and we could have a budget amendment later on. So, to me, this budget makes sense to vote on. I don't know why, if we wait 30 days, as we did with the decision they were trying to stop the building, you know, the senior center being built, I am gonna vote the same way unless there's a magical, you know, enlightenment of myself of what these numbers are. We've been aware of these numbers on a monthly basis, and they're coming in substantially under budget. We're the custodian of the public money, so to me, I would vote on this lower number right now based on all the information I have. And that's my comment.
Would you like me to respond to it all?
No, this is the trustee discussion.
I was talking to Art.
Any other trustee comment or discussion? Karen, I'll come back to you. Anything?
Unfortunately, I wish that we,
You're muted.
sorry,
It's okay.
okay, and listening, it's very informative to hear from everybody, because it seems like it's almost a 50-50 split here, with some people saying go ahead and vote on it tonight, some people saying postpone it for 30 days. I have looked at over the budgets too, and to Art's point, I don't understand the amounts that were asked for. There were some specific line items that I didn't understand why they were there. And so even those small ones and some larger ones should use the budget. So I'm leaning towards voting tonight on this budget and going forward from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other final comments from any of the trustees? I'll go around again. Dave, any final thoughts?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Abby, any final thoughts?
Survive.
Thank you. Art, any final thoughts?
None.
Okay, that wraps up the trustee discussion of this. And at this time, I will close the hearing on the general fund IMRF and general assistance. Given the time constraints, I'd like to take a 5-minute break if anybody needs to go to the bathroom or fill their water cup up. If anybody out in the audience needs to take a break, right now it is, come back phone, 8:16. We will start the regular monthly meeting in 4 minutes at 8:20. Is everybody okay with that? I'm going to leave this up for now, so again, no Arizona School Board action out there by anybody, please. And Waters Grove Township meeting of the Township Board of Trustees on February 25th, 2021 at 8:20. At this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order and ask all to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. That's another thing that when we're all in person is a little more synchronized. I'm stealing one of Paul's lines from that. Clerk Grimsby, can you call the roll?
Trustee Donner?
Aye.
Trustee Kelly? Trustee Kelly?
We're calling the roll, Karen.
Okay. Trustee Ferguson?
Aye.
Trustee Vanderline?
Present.
Supervisor Toma?
Present. We do have a quorum. At this time, I'll make a motion to conduct the February Board of Trustee meeting electronically. Clerk Grimsby, can you call the roll, please?
We need a second.
Give me a second.
A second.
Art seconded.
Okay. Trustee Kelly?
Present.
Trustee Ferguson?
Present.
Trustee Donner?
Aye.
Trustee Vanderline?
Aye.
And Supervisor Toma?
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, we've reached the public comment section. I'll give Assessor Bolts first public comment.
But I just want to ask you, so what's the rules for this month? Am I public comment, or do I get to comment at the time you're talking about my budget?
Public comment.
Okay, so this rule, I'm public comment.
This is it.
Okay, I know you change them each month. All right, I want to make sure what you're going to do by the rules this month. Okay, thank you, sir. All right, so I want to make sure that all the trustees understand, because this is very important. All right, with what Supervisor Toman has done, I don't think we're really understanding this. And what this attorney is recommending, is simply saying, post the information so the public sees what the numbers are. Give them a chance to see the numbers. So the public sees, or they've seen what the supervisor is recommending based on his analysis of numbers, all right? One of the points he made is apparently he's paying my postage cost out of another department. I will tell you, as a CPA, auditing government agencies, which I did, we typically would recommend you don't pay expenses out of another department. You pay it out of the department that actually incurred it. All right, but again, I'm not opining on that as a CPA, but I would question that, all right? But in any case, I did not know that when I was a trustee. We had a project that we were working on that I had budgeted for. We postponed it because of COVID. We have many, many seniors that are not taking advantage of their senior exemption. We had planned on doing a mailing last year to them. Because of COVID, we postponed it. Had there been a discussion, you would have found out that, but there was no discussion with Supervisor Thoman. He struck that completely. Says, you don't need that. I believe seniors should have a chance to take advantage of the senior exemption. A lot of our seniors are having struggles with their stuff. I am happily and prepared to answer any question whatsoever about the budget. I think the public should know what the budget actually is that I requested. Supervisor Thoman and I have a different view. He believes that he should make that determination instead of the public. And that's fine. He works differently. I work out in the public, in the open eye of the public. I'm asking you to please do that, because I will tell you right now, statutorily under 35 ILCS 200/9-160, I have to be able to defend appeals. We got some this year, at least one that I was dealing with last week, that is based on contention of law. That means somebody is saying a correct law wasn't applied in the assessment of a property. There's 3 forms of appeal: market, uniformity, and contention of law. We can sometimes deal with it because we're misunderstanding, but I have to be able to defend that. If it gets complex enough, I have to go to somebody like Al, or maybe an expert attorney, to be able to help defend that in the first level. In addition to that, I just turned in an invoice because we had an appeal. It's down at PTAB now for an apartment complex that I felt that I needed to get a appraisal, outside appraisal. There was a commercial consultant that we had that was running the commercial department when I took over the assessor's office. He was not functioning as an appraiser. I've tried to explain this to Supervisor Tolman at least 25 times. He still said it over and over tonight. I don't expect Supervisor Tolman to be an assessor. He didn't run for assessor. I respect the job and I wish him the best in life. He didn't run for assessor, I did. But he keeps telling people in the public, oh, that was the appraiser. No, he's not the appraiser. Well, all I'm saying to you is, please, we lose nothing for the residents of Downers Grove to let them see in a transparent fashion what the numbers are, and hear a presentation and stand tall, ask the questions, but actually hear the truth. And Trustee Donner is a gifted CPA. We've had many debates over numbers. I'm happy to, but you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to actually be sitting with the numbers and having a discussion over the facts of the numbers, not arguing like silly people. I've appeared before in hundreds of public meetings. Never have I seen it conducted this way, because I've never seen the chair of a meeting openly provide false information consistently over and over and over again in this meeting and previous meetings. I can only attribute it to tonight, and I've given you actual examples of professional services. I have no need to say, but I have to be able to do my statutory duty. I have to, and I don't want to do it by manipulating numbers. I'm just saying, hey, post the budget, beat the living daylights out of me. I don't care. I'll stand by my numbers. But give the public a chance to see. The people in the audience right here should not be wondering, what the heck numbers are we talking about? Supervisor Tolman believes that they shouldn't know. They shouldn't even get to see the numbers. He gets to decide. I bet you if I ask right now, and I'm not going to put a trustee on the spot, they don't even know what my budget was. They don't know how much money was into professional services. They don't know what they're voting on. Because Supervisor Tolman made that decision. Art will, because he's a fellow CPA. But nobody else knows it because Supervisor Tolman made those decisions. So I'm just respectfully asking you, please don't take away my ability to statutorily do my job, because we call it an auditing and analytical review. Mark asked no questions. He did no follow-up, no research. He just did an analytical review. We don't issue opinions on purely analytical review. We do audits, and Art's better at this than me. We do analytical review, but we follow them up with questions. There were no questions from Supervisor Tolman. He even, oh, by the way, this other thing too, you asked, I think somebody asked, did the procedure change? Absolutely. And Attorney Alanchi tried to say this. I was a trustee for a couple years. I watched the budget process. Never in all the years I watched the budget process did any supervisor ever change an assessor's budget without the public seeing it. Never. This is a complete change in process where a supervisor took a unilateral authority to change a budget and not show the original budget to the public. That is a factual statement. I don't know what attorney he claims he get. I've never heard him mention an attorney. This is Mark's legal review from what I understand. Sorry, Supervisor Tolman's legal review. I know I talked to another attorney, plus I talked to the Township Association, the executive director, who's a clerk since 1985. So again, I know I'm talking passionately because I'm begging the trustees, just grant the 30 days, give the public the information, let them see it, and quiz the heck out of me. I don't care. I'm not hiding anything. And then lower the budget if you want. But you're lowering the budget request. That's what's going to, and that's okay. I don't care. You have a statutory duty to decide how much I get. But you should at least have the chance to ask the questions off my original request. And the public should know what you're doing. And with all due respect to the other people on the residents, I understand I'm not an attorney, maybe you all are, but attorneys have said this is potentially the issue. I would prefer that you all don't walk into an open meeting next time. I was a trustee, so again, I'm passionate, but please think about it. You're still within the time frames. You're just giving the public the knowledge to make a decision on the facts, not what somebody told you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, let's start with Carol Jean. Do you have any public comment you'd like to make at this time? This will be your only opportunity. Carol Jean? You need to unmute if you want to make a public comment, or say you have no comment.
I have no comment.
Thank you. Dave Ricordati, sorry, I'm butchering your last name now. Ricordati, do you have any public comment at this time?
No, you didn't come with my name at the beginning of the meeting. See, now everybody's all, no, I have no comment.
Thank you. Marianne Vasquez, do you have any public comment at this time?
No, I do not. No, thank you, though.
Thank you. Tom Klistek, do you have any public comment at this time?
Just one quick question for Mr. Bose. He mentioned that he couldn't send out letters to seniors due to COVID. I've been receiving mail last year, even though there's COVID, so I quite don't understand the statement that he couldn't send out letters to seniors due to COVID.
Well,
may I respond to that?
No, public comment is not to...
But it's not what I said.
Sorry, public comment is not here to interrogate.
I'm not interrogating. I'm happy to answer a resident.
I'm talking to Mr. Klistek.
But I'm gonna
excuse me, I'm talking to Mr. Klistek.
May I answer a resident?
You had your comment.
May I answer a resident, Supervisor Tolman? A resident asked a question. May I answer a resident? As an elected official, may I answer a resident?
What I'm telling the resident is public comment is not an appropriate venue to interrogate anyone.
He's not interrogating. Tom, call me. Call me, Tom. I'm happy to answer your question, man. Not a problem. That's not what I
Do you have
meant to
any
say.
other question or comment, Tom? Thank you.
No, I do not, no.
Carol, do you have any public comment at this time?
I do not, but thank you for asking.
Paul Coltrap, do you have any public comment at this time?
A little mute button has on me, sorry about that.
That's okay.
I would, yes, ask for a delay till next month. I think there are too many differences here. I think that Mr. Volz's original request should be held to give them to the public, and then the trustees and the board review it. I understand where statutorily, no matter what the budget is, you still have to pay for it, but I think if you lower it way too much, and he starts, and then if it goes over that, future boards could put a hold on future spending. So I think it's something that you guys need to discuss a little bit further, next month, 30 days, let Grant's original budget come out there, and then take a look at it at that point in time. That's all I have to say right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Stoll, do you have any public comment at this time?
Again, I don't know if this is Paul before me, but what he said was reasonable. I think we should table this discussion on the budget and review again in 30 days. Thank you.
Thank you. Janet Winningham, do you have any public comment at this time?
Nothing to add, thank you.
Michael Okram, do you have any public comment at this time?
I'd just like to say that there's so much discussion back and forth. It's obvious that this isn't clear and being handled well. I don't think it's unreasonable that Assessor Bolts gets another 30 days and gets to present his budget. Look at all the budgets. Right now, there's going to be a lot of confusion. It doesn't feel unacceptable after another 30 days.
Thank you. Bonnie Wayman, do you have any public comment at this time?
Not really at this time, other than I am a little saddened at this discord, that's all.
Thank you for your comment. Jerry, do you have any public comment at this time?
I do not, thank you.
Thank you. Steve, do you have any public comment at this time?
I do not, thank you.
Thank you. Mary Lemansky, do you have any public comment at this time?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Elaine Johnson, do you have any public comment at this time?
I do not, thank you.
Thank you. That ends public comments. Our next item, moving on to item 6, is I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the board meeting from January 21, 2021 as presented. Can I have a second?
Second.
We'll open it for discussion for the trustees. Seeing no asks for discussion, Clerk Granby, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Donner?
Aye.
Trustee Ferguson? Trustee Kelly?
Aye.
Trustee Vanderline?
Aye.
Supervisor Tom?
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Move to number 7, item 7. I will make a motion to approve the trustee audit and approval of bills and claims as presented. Can I have a second?
Second.
I'll open it for discussion with a note that you guys got 2 packets for general fund and 2 packets for the road fund, reflecting the pushback of this meeting by 1 week, because we do have bills that we have to pay every month, which we do. Any discussion? I know Dave has already looked at it and sent a confirmation email, and let's see, I think Art has done the audit in person, Karen has done the audit in person. We have enough to count for audit, but if you have time, Abby, take a look at it and send us an email if you approve. I'll cut you some slack, given that you're a new 2-son mom. And with that, I'll ask for, okay, and then I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Trustee Donner?
Aye.
Trustee Kelly?
Aye.
Trustee Ferguson?
I'll abstain.
And Trustee Vanderline?
Aye.
And Supervisor Tom?
Aye, the motion carries 4-0 with 1 abstain. Brings us to item number 8. Motion to approve the general fund budget and appropriation ordinance number 2122 is presented. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
And we'll open it
I
for,
would actually like to make a motion to table the approval of the general fund and repost the actual assessor budget for 30 days.
okay, hang on a second. So you're making a motion to amend, to table,
Vote on the budget for 30 days.
table, a vote for 30 days. That would put it out to 30 days, we'd actually miss March and have to do it in April, I believe. Hang on a second. I'll open it up, I'll open up the, can I get a second on the motion to table the vote for 30 days? That was trustee Vanderlaan seconding. I will open the motion to table the vote for 30 days up for discussion.
I have a question. If we would post another budget, how is the public going to determine that budget versus the one that was already hung?
They would have to look at it like they did this time when it was hung for 30 days.
Or label it revised.
Is that going to be more confusing to the public, not knowing what's going on here when we've already hung a budget?
We could,
Well, watch the meeting minutes, I don't really understand the question.
Certainly can post something on the website.
yeah, we posted the original budget on the website and noticed that we would post an alternate budget. I think that, I'm looking at the calendar, that moves this to, that would move it to April 15th.
Just another question, have you had any phone calls from any of the, our residents, asking about the current budget that was posted? Have you had any feedback from anybody?
No citizens have called and posted and asked, given any feedback. If it appears on March 4th, we'd have to do it at the April meeting.
For 30 days.
Yeah.
You could still hold a monthly meeting, you could have a special meeting, you need 48 hours notice, and it would be the only agenda item, instead of waiting until April.
Okay, we'll cross that bridge. What Clerk Grimsby is saying is that we can have a regular March meeting and ask for a special meeting that would meet 30 days from tomorrow.
We could have the meeting on March 29th or after the 30th, because the 30 days would be March 28th.
Posted Friday. 26th. We could do a special meeting on the 25th.
Well, no, because the 30 days is the 28th.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So you're saying that it could be,
That's, I think, a Sunday, the 30 days.
okay, so if the vote is to table the vote for 30 days, what we could do is publish it tomorrow, and then we'll just count out 30 days and ask for a special meeting.
Which could be Monday or Tuesday, or
We could do Monday or Tuesday on that. Any other discussion on that item? I will say I'd rather just vote and see what happens. So I will be voting against the motion to table the vote. I think we have an obligation to take a vote. Any other discussion? Okay, so this is a roll call vote to table a vote for 30 days. And you can call the roll, please.
okay. Trustee Donner,
No.
Trustee Vanderlaan,
Aye.
Trustee Ferguson,
Aye.
Trustee Kelly,
Okay.
Supervisor Tolman.
Nay.
Okay, 3-2.
Was that an A or I or a nay, Karen?
It was, no.
No.
Oh, no?
Motion fails 2-3, so we're back to the original motion to approve the general fund budget And we're back to discussing the general fund, the motion to approve the general fund budget. I will reopen that for discussion if anybody has anything to say. Art?
I have no comment.
Dave?
At this point, I'm uncomfortable voting for the budget due to the legal risk if presented by our attorney. So I decide to vote against it, which would then push us back to where the motion is built was pushing.
Karen, any further comments?
No, thank you.
I have nothing further to say. I will call the roll on the item.
Trustee Donner?
Aye.
Trustee Vanderline?
Nay.
Trustee Ferguson?
No.
Trustee Kelly?
Can you refresh, what are we voting on again now? Because it's been all over the place. We're voting on which motion.
We're voting to approve the township general fund budget and appropriation ordinance as presented.
Aye.
Supervisor Coleman?
Aye. Motion carries 3-2. Thank you. We'll move on to the supervisor's report. I have several items to talk about. We were contacted by the Village of Woodridge and the Village of Downers Grove, who are having what started out as non-public vaccination events for their municipal employees and teachers in their school districts. They received extra dosages and weren't quite sure what to do with it, so they contacted us asking if we could supply them with any email addresses of senior citizens that lived in their communities that were over 65 years old. I'm pleased to report that we were able to provide Woodridge with the names and email addresses of 17 Woodridge residents that are senior citizens that fit the 1B. And in Downers Grove, we were able to supply them with 279 contacts of seniors 65 or over for them to contact about their, what was an unpublicized vaccination event. I believe both municipalities, at least Downers Grove, has put it up on their website at this point, and I'm hoping that we can help get our seniors vaccinated, and we received very high compliments from both communities in our prompt response to them. I'm sure I have other things to report, but it's been a very hectic evening, so I will defer for now, and if I think of something later, I'll put it on a post and put it up on our website and on the Facebook page. We took possession of the building, of the Township Center building, on February 10th. We finished on budget for the building project. Now we're in the process of having the fish, food, and clothing pantry move in, and we're fitting out the building with things like garbage cans and rugs and toilet paper and whatnot. We hope to be up to speed and open whenever the state lets us. DuPage Senior Citizens Council is very excited to be an active partner with us, staging Meals on Wheels deliveries and doing lunchtime feedings for senior citizens when they're allowed. Fish Food Pantry is psyched with their new facility. It's fully ADA compliant. It meets all the requirements of the Northern Illinois Food Bank. We've gone from, at this time last year, being told that we were going to be out of business January 1st if we were still in our basement, to being the Fish, Food, and Clothing Pantry is one of their favored food pantries now. So kudos to Lisa Raisin and John and Deb Agazimo. Deb and Lisa are the co-directors, and John is the chairman of the board. There's been a little bit of the changing of the guard. There's been some young energy, and I say young because they're still senior citizens, they're still volunteers, they still have hearts of gold. And with that, I'll ask if there is any old business for anyone to bring up. Dave, anything? You there, Dave?
I am, sorry, I'm making sure I was on mute.
Okay. Okay, Abby, any? Okay, Abby, any old business?
No,
Karen, any old business?
no old business.
I don't have any old business, I'll move on to new business. Art, any new business?
Yeah, I think, do you want to let the public know about the process for the audit this year? Given the fact that you're transitioning out, or we're going to have the audit prior to?
Yeah, we're actually, we've had our first phone call meeting with the auditors, Whitfleet, which is a large firm that specializes in small government units. I actually hope to have the audit completed and in the barn before I leave. That's a big ask of a new supervisor. We've had good audits with a couple different firms. We look forward to another good audit this year, even though because of COVID, a lot of our numbers were pretty whacked out. And I will say, I'm going to use that opportunity to report again that with the CARES Act fund money that we received, we were able to help over a dozen nonprofits essentially stay in business by reimbursing them for their CARES qualified expenses. We passed on over $120,000 to over a dozen nonprofits that were hammered by COVID-related expenses last year, and they had very little opportunity to fundraise because everything was shut down. So we earned some brownie points with the good guys in our township over that. Is there any new business? Art, I think I already asked you. Abby, any new business?
No new business.
Thank you. Dave, any new business?
None.
Karen, any new business?
Yeah, I have one thing. I was wanting to just bring up the option of a discussion as to when we might be able to start to open up the township for normal business, even maybe on a limited basis. Seniors are getting the COVID shots, the numbers have gone down, and I'm wondering if now is not the time to start opening up the office again. I don't think anybody's got any comments to make on that.
We can certainly look at that because we've got the separation shields that we have up on the countertop. We have been bringing people into the front of the office, in front of the counter, and doing passport pictures. You know, it's just everybody masks up when a stranger comes in. We've been giving away mask sets like crazy. That's been a very popular item. So that's something that, what I can do is, I can check with the other township supervisors and see where their heads are at too, so that we're all kind of moving in lockstep and reopening our services. Yeah,
Following the guidance of the county, and from my understanding of what I've been told is that the county you can get into the county building now and take care of some business, so that was why I was asking. So I thought we were following, what they're doing.
okay. I can check with our county board members too and see where the county board building's at too.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. I'm all for it. The sooner we can get back to normal, the better, right? Any other new business?
Mark, this is Carol.
Yeah.
I just don't remember that you voted on the highway budget.
We adopted the highway budget in the public meeting.
Did you actually do that?
Yes,
You
we.
meant to.
Where's my? I think it was 5-0.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
I'll take a vote for it on this one. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed that want to hang around for another couple hours? This meeting is adjourned. Our next regular township board meeting will be held Thursday, March 18th at 7:30 p.m. I'd like to wish everybody a good night. Thank you.
Hi, everybody.
Bye.